Hey everybody, welcome to Bearded Baker Banter. Welcome to the middle of the madness. We are now into the Sweet 16, heading in the Sweet 16 tomorrow. If you're listening to this, possibly today. So we're going to get into some reactions here from the bracket up to this point in time. We're going to kind of rally around each region, talk about some big surprises. We'll kind of compare contrast our brackets. We'll look at some Sweet 16 picks to put together for a board. And then kind of dig into just some analysis of things. So, welcome, guys. Trent, Trey.
How you doing? Yeah, I'm sitting here enjoying a nice glass of Basil Hayden Dark Rye. About to pour myself another one. Looking at my personal bracket here because it's in shambles, I'd say. But yeah, overall a great first weekend of the bracket. We had a great time watching it together, spending a lot of time together and stuff. So couldn't ask for it. Really lived up to all the hype.
Absolutely. Not a good feeling when it's just hitting the second wave of games and you feel like your bracket's been busted. So, yeah, personal brackets in shambles. As we're going to get to our main bracket, our collaboration bracket, has a little life to it. So,
yeah.
Ready for another round of madness.
Absolutely.
Sweet 16.
Oh, yeah. So, we're going to start up in the South region here. Where we had Alabama was the number one, and then our Arizona Wildcats were number two. Any surprises, reactions from the South bracket that you guys saw, at least out of that first weekend?
Well, I mean, the clear one is you just mentioned it, Tyler, is the Princeton upset over Arizona. I talked a lot of crap on the Ivy League leading up to the tournament. Thought they were the weakest conference, and here we are with the only Ivy League team being the Cinderella. So, I mean, that's just poetic justice for me. But, it's really exciting seeing them. I really thought Missouri would knock them off after getting past Arizona, just crashing from that high, knocking off a 2 seed. But furthest the team has gotten since, what was that, Lob City? Or no, not Lob City. Dunk City or Florida Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, Dunk City.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be a tough matchup for them coming up against Creighton. I think really I know Creighton's a 6 seed, but it's a really, really tough matchup for them. But yeah, I'd say biggest surprise for me is obviously the Tigers out of Princeton.
Yeah. Trent, what do you think about the South region here?
Well, I think I've learned a lot is stop fading the Big East. I feel like that's been the message for me in this tournament.
You're dang right.
I underestimated the conference, and I obviously being a Duke fan, overestimated the ACC's strength. However, I think I faded Creighton every single round to start. So why stop now? Let's go Princeton with the points, right? But obviously I would say surprises, but also disappointments. Was really hoping to see Charleston make a run. As you guys know, I had them all the way out. Yeah. I had them playing this week, actually tomorrow, I think tomorrow. But then also it was just yet again let down by the Virginia Cavaliers. Just I don't get me wrong. I don't like Virginia, but I respect Tony Bennett. I think what he has there, he recruits the right guys for his system. But man, what a letdown! That's just brutal. That's what separates you from the Blue Bloods in the ACC. I agree. The constant first round exits.
Yeah, I look at the South region, and this was a region full of surprises. I mean, you can take the Paladins, over Virginia.
What a mascot!
Not a bird.
I mean, you look at Baylor. Lost to Creighton. Obviously, Arizona's round one loss. I mean, it's all over the place, and I mean, it actually kind of just has continued. The only consistency here that we could probably even talk about is that maybe West Virginia did deserve a 16 seed. I'm just kidding. But no, the true only consistency is, Alabama. I mean, they're just kind of steamrolling teams.
Yep.
You kind of look at where they're at, and even with all these upsets, I mean, it's hard to argue that they don't have maybe not the easiest, outlook to make it to the finals here. So,
right.
which
I,
looking at our bracket overall, wouldn't be a bad thing.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, looking at our bracket, I think we only got three of the first round matchups in the South region correct. The only and Alabama's been, like you said, Tyler, just steaming teams. Their pace is unmatched.
Yeah.
Even with, I think it was the first against Texas A&M CC, Brandon Miller didn't have a field goal.
Yeah.
And they still won. They still won by 21 points. So I mean,
that blew my mind.
yeah, they're impressive, and it's going to take an off day from Alabama and another team's best day, I think, to really knock them off. So
yeah.
But another thing to touch on, Trent mentioned it, but I've been saying it since we started looking into the tournament that the Big East should be considered a Power Five conference instead of the Pac-12, right? Guess what conference has the most teams, has three remaining teams left in the Sweet 16. That's the Big East.
Yeah, one of the big ones is that though.
They're only going to get stronger with the new addition of a Rick Pitino led St. John's team, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
How about that?
That is true. That is true. I'm still going to say the ACC's better, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Big East, man. They had some respect back in the day when UConn was a powerhouse and stuff, but they're starting to make a name for themselves again.
Yeah. I mean, the glory days of the Big East. I mean, you had Pitt, Syracuse, UConn. I mean, yeah, that was a scary conference. But then wait a second. Let's see. Pitt. Oh, they're in the ACC. Syracuse. They're in the ACC. I don't know. I guess the grass isn't always greener, but I think it's pretty green.
You better be getting paid by the ACC.
Oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys. They reached out. They reached out. It's a little something on the side, but
I mean, looking at where our bracket is, our Final Four team out of the South region was Alabama. I think Trey, you'd mentioned too that looking at what we picked, they are it in terms of what we have left in the Sweet 16 there. So they're still alive. We're still alive. To even have them go into the championship there. So let's jump down to the East region. I find some interest here in the sense of I don't know. I know for sure that I said the East region was going to be the toughest. And
I did as well, yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to actually put, a bracket into a dumpster fire, I really truly think that that's what this East section is. I mean, whoa, it's rough when you look at who's left, who's there, in terms of picking. I mean, I'm not saying the teams are rough. It's just like wow, there's a lot of surprises here. So.
Yeah. So opposite. I mean, as we just talked about, the South being our worst region as a collaboration bracket. The East for the first round was actually our best bracket, our best region.
Yeah.
The only game we got wrong was the 16 over the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Fairleigh Dickinson, which how about that, man? What an exciting game and moment to watch.
Yeah.
And can you believe though, guys? Like that coach, that coach wins one big game.
Yeah.
Doesn't win his conference tournament. Loses to a Division II team transitioning up to Division I, loses to an actual Division II team earlier in the season, but beats Purdue and gets the Iona job. How about that?
That's called capitalizing on an opportunity, Trent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, it's not hate. I don't want you to think it's hate. I just, when you summarize that and you think about that, that's pretty incredible. So
good for him. Good for him.
I hope Iona gets their guy there.
Dude, I hope so too, because I mean, if you guys watched his post game interview, man, with tears and hey, I'm going fishing, like you can't help but like the guy. And I know that clip went viral there for a little while with I think Barstool featured it and stuff, but he seems like a good dude, So I do hope, I'm not necessarily an Iona fan, but at the same time. Capitalize on your opportunity, and who knows, man? Maybe Iona's not really going to miss a beat from Pitino. I mean, Pitino's a hard guy to beat, but at least hopefully it's a positive transition for him. With Pitino kind of leaving like he did, but
big shoes to fill for sure. But I mean, like we talked about, what an opportunity for him to really, make a name for himself.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So looking at biggest surprise. I really don't know how you can actually say anything's a surprise except for the fact that FDU did beat Purdue. Looking at that in the sense of Purdue has the tallest guy there, and I think we had mentioned it in the last episode. FDU was considered
Oh, yeah.
the smallest team in the entire tournament. So, hey, I mean, props to you, Trent. I think you even mentioned it. Hey, maybe it actually brings Edie out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
With the
Takes him out of the lane.
Yeah, with the height difference. So, I mean, unless you guys think there was something a little bit more surprising, I mean, you're looking right now at their Sweet 16 with you got a 9-4 matchup with FAU Tennessee, and you got a
Man.
7-3 matchup. I mean, if you're not looking at this tournament and thinking, "Wow, anybody can win this tournament," you got 9-4, 3 and 7 in your Sweet 16 is pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I'm pulling away from this is pretty much considering I've put a wager on Tennessee already. If Tennessee doesn't cover, I am already blacklisting them for next year.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you sit there and you try to take them as dogs, you try to take them as favorites, and they've got me. They've bit me a couple times. But my most enjoyable thing from this area is absolutely seeing Kentucky get bounced before the second weekend.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to put it in this perspective right now, you have the National Player of the Year on your team 2 years in a row, and you don't make it to the second weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Shibwe is the National Player this year, but he's a National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Those types of guys don't ever return at most programs. They're usually gone after a year. So it's like...
Yeah, that's a good point.
One weekend, they've been bounced in the first weekend twice now.
Yeah.
So watch out. I mean, that's...
And that could also be, too. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but maybe Coach Cal's worn out his welcome in Kentucky.
Ooh.
It's...
Is he? Are you saying he's on the hot seat, Tyler?
I don't know. I mean...
Can I add something?
I don't think he's on the hot seat. I truly think that he might seek opportunity elsewhere if it shows itself.
And you know where that is?
Go ahead.
Let's hear it, Trent.
I'm still convinced because I don't know why this team hasn't removed the interim tag yet. But Texas.
Okay.
Oh.
Texas. Why have you not hired that coach full time now?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because if they remove the interim tag and then he wins the national title, what are you going to do? Or I'm sorry. If you name Calipari, I'm sorry. Say you name Calipari, right? And they keep the interim title for this guy, and he wins the national title. What happens?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They're dragging it out. Like they're not jumping it and hiring him, and then they lose, and they're like, darn it. They're going to wait to see how far does he take them, and if they don't like it, because Texas has some big booster money. I know it's mainly a football school, but they got a lot of boosters there that if they're not happy still, they want the big name.
And
I think if you get to the title, you got to keep that coach.
100%, I agree with that, but that might be the ultimatum.
And let's also point out where Texas is going conference-wise.
SEC.
There you go.
Ooh, wow, that could be spicy.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So connect those.
Is that for all sports? That's for all sports?
It has to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
in those conference cases, I believe it has to be.
Okay.
I will say this though, kind of looking back at bracket with stuff. I mean, Tom Izzo, again and again every year, like as long as he gets in the tournament, he's gonna disrupt something with his teams, and you just can't help but I respect the guy. I mean, he's an old school coach. He comes in, he comes off very very rough around the edges, but he just gets his guy. You can tell his guys love him. I mean, the reason that he is making noise every single year in and year out, is because his guys will just go to war for him.
Yeah, he gets the most out of every one of his players, for sure.
Absolutely. So
and credit to him, because I think he does it in an old style type way, which really everyone says is a thing of the past. But, I mean, I see some serious tough love on getting on guys as they come off the court.
Oh, yeah.
So
Michigan State, the only team left from the Big Ten, too. How about that? Bubble team. Barely made the tournament, and they're last in from the Big Ten.
And they had the most bids, Big Ten did.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Before
like
before we
I
move
feel like
on,
that's every year.
before we move on from the East, I do want to touch on. I think the game of the tournament is FAU Memphis round one.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! I know we were hyped as heck watching it, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean I'm biased. I was cheering for FAU, so I mean I like the outcome, but in general, just what a game and so
yeah.
exciting. That to me is what March Madness is all about.
Did you catch Penny's water bottle? No. I just wondering.
Oh man!
It's
No.
Seriously, what?
Still in orbit. It's
Yeah.
still in orbit.
Yeah,
I
No,
do
but-
think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like I've said it before. It was a great game, favorite one of the tournaments so far. But what a shame those two teams had to be matched up first round.
Yeah.
That was both of those teams. I think really could have made waves and made it to the Sweet 16
Yeah.
if they were in separate regions. But
Absolutely. I mean, and to kind of touch on another possible hot seat here, when you guys start evaluating Purdue's coach? I mean, looking at his
Yeah.
exits last 3 years, 13 seed, a 15 seed, and a 16 seed. And I mean, and I think Trent, you pointed out the fact that you have Zach Edey, who's pretty dominant, and these are your exits. I don't know, man.
National Player of the Year.
He's one to kind of keep an eye on too, but I don't know. I mean, go ahead.
sometimes the grass isn't always greener in those situations. Being back to back one seeds multiple years is not an easy thing to do.
But what are you getting
And
out of it though?
I agree. I agree, Tyler. I completely agree. But like I'm saying, who are you going to get that's going to give you more than what Painter's giving you guys?
Man, I don't know. I think there's some guys out there that need at least some consideration. I mean, Penn State, unfortunately for them, just lost their dude Notre Dame. Like that kind of surprised me.
If Purdue was a perennial powerhouse team in the Big Ten every year, then I would agree. Maybe you can find a new coach and improve a little bit. So like Calipari in Kentucky. Like you guys think he might be on the hot seat. That's okay. But with Purdue, they could drop to the bottom of the Big Ten and never sniff a tournament for years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a bold prediction. Got a bold prediction.
Give us
So
a bold prediction.
I think the next big name coach to fill a big time spot will be somebody out of retirement, and I believe that person will be Jay Wright.
I could agree with that.
I don't think he's done. Listening to him, and don't get me wrong, he talks about how less stressful the job he's doing now is, which is commentating, but I don't think he's done. I think he's got some years left in him, and
where do you think he goes? Any whim?
Not at the moment. I'm just saying, in the future, near future, in the next 2 to 3 years, I think if a big time job opens up, I think somebody's going to pay him enough money to say, "Hey, come on back."
So okay,
I think he goes.
I'm going to add on to your prediction, Trent, because I could see that. And you know what I'm going to go ahead and say? UNC's coach doesn't make it back to the tournament next year.
Ooh,
And they fire him.
Wow.
Hubert Davis, and then he goes to UNC, Jay Wright.
Well, I hate that.
Because Trent, to me, it would have
wild.
to be it would have to be a school like that to draw him out of retirement. I would say, because why else would you leave a blue blood like Villanova? And yes, I'm considering them a blue blood. Why would you leave them just to go to a lesser program?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I also think that he could actually be back at Villanova.
Yeah, I can see that,
You know.
Tyler. That's very realistic too.
I could see that happening where Villanova's like, yeah, we made a mistake. We need you back, Jay. I could totally see that happening because I feel like there's too much allegiance there. Just kind of knowing a little bit about what he recruits, where he recruits, and just kind of the way he has his team going. I could see him probably going back there. And I totally disagree with your UNC statement, Trey, because Baycott's back.
I don't know if you guys hit this. I might have skipped out there for a second, but Trey, you do consider Villanova a blue blood?
Yes, I do.
Ooh, that makes me cringe when they call Indiana a blue blood. I don't know. The blue bloods are Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, and Duke,
And UCLA.
and UCLA. Yes, I don't consider Nova a blue blood.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all.
So what makes you a blue blood then?
Just being freaking awesome forever.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of a consistency thing, like over years and years and years. And your team color is blue. I feel like it has to
well,
be.
I mean, Nova has the blue. I just don't. I don't know. That's a good poll question.
Yeah.
It's a good poll question. We got to keep that in bank.
Hey, one other thing out of this region before we move on to the next one is, I do think that the only team that can beat Tennessee is going to be Michigan State, because I actually think that Michigan State's going to beat up Tennessee more than Tennessee can beat anybody else up. Just throwing that out
Can
there.
I say something?
Yeah.
I want to throw some out there. I think Kansas State is the most underrated, underappreciated team left in the tournament.
Thank you.
I think that they can. I think they can make a Final Four appearance.
We're just gonna have to find out. I know Trent and I disagree on this a lot.
I love that Kansas State money line all day.
Yeah, that is. I think Kansas State is very underappreciated.
I disagree with the fact that you're making Michigan State a favorite right now, and it hasn't moved at all from -2, which is absurd. But I don't know. I also think that this is one of those lines. Whenever you get that 1.5 to 3, all right, where it kind of seems like an obvious pick, and I know I talked about this the other day in text. I just think that this might be a thing where people are like, oh my gosh, let me take Kansas State because they're an underdog. This is easy. And I think Michigan State could actually blow them out of the water and beat them by like 8 or 10. That's just my thought.
But let's take a step back from the first 2 tournament games.
Trent said the same thing. I know he said the same thing.
Take away the first 2 tournament games. Anyone in their right mind would take Kansas State over Michigan State. 9 times out of 10, Kansas State would win. No, this is just me speaking. I think would win that game. But Michigan State has played impressive the last 2 games.
Do you think that's the only reason for the line being the way it is, though? Like,
yes,
it's the line that gets me. It's 2, and I think
Izzo's experience is a factor. I think how he prepares, he has a week to prepare for Kansas State. I think that is a factor, but ultimately, I think Kansas State is the better team. It's just a matter of how much can Izzo and Michigan State live up to it. That's
not gonna
experience, tournament experience.
Region out. Not gonna drag this region out anymore, but I'll end this region discussion with one comment. Shaka Smart, overrated.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
All right.
Yeah, I can agree.
All right. So let's move up to the Midwest region. This is the Houston region, all right, as number 1 seed, and we got Texas as your 2 seed in this region. Let me pull this up here to get official teams.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have been more wrong with my my prediction of the 12, 13, 14 seeds getting wins here, because all 3 of them lost. So
especially that 12 seed in this region.
Yeah.
I told you.
Another thing to bring up, speaking of 12-5s, not 1 12 beat a 5 seed.
I know.
That little trap trend that everyone talks about is exactly what it is. It's a trap.
Yeah. But the 13-4.
Ready? I was going to say, like we've been since we started this thing, the 13-4 didn't fail. And heck, you know, it's gaining some traction, in my opinion, is 15-2.
Yeah, 15-2.
15 is gaining. It's happened what now? Is it 7 of the last 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
And hold on 1 second. I'm not sure why I didn't even toot my own horn on this. I was one person that said that a 16 will beat a 1 in this tournament.
Yeah.
So,
I'd give you a half a compliment.
I know, but I'm just saying.
If you gave me the specific, I'd take it.
I just need a little pat on the back there. That's all.
I'll give you one.
All right. Thanks. All right, so what we're looking at here, Sweet 16 wise, you have a 1-5 matchup with Houston against Miami. Miami being Trent's only ACC team left. And then you got a 3-2 matchup with Xavier and Texas. So, I don't know. I mean, I felt like there was so many opportunities here for wild upsets in the Midwest bracket, and I feel like they just all failed. You know, I thought Houston could have been the one team to lose. You know, then they steamroll Auburn. You know, Pitt forgot to show up against Xavier.
Yeah, but they did pull the upset over Iowa State, which that was a complete domination in my opinion. That was ugly.
I don't know if you can call that an upset though, because Iowa State was so streaky all year, and it
11
was.
over 6.
I know, yeah. I guess from a seating standpoint, but like, well, Penn State over A&M, I thought was a pretty big thing. And
Yeah,
then,
I thought. I mean,
and they gave
A and
Texas
M.
a
I
game
thought
too.
was going to be a dark horse in the tournament,
Yeah.
and they get bounced the first round by a very, very hot Penn State team. Tough.
Yeah.
That's a very tough matchup.
Yeah.
If I was A&M, I would be very upset with the committee.
Yeah.
First of all, giving me a 7 seed and then getting that matchup, that's just tough.
Yeah.
And leaving them out last year, controversial.
Yeah. So maybe they don't like Buzz. Maybe Buzz did something to them too, Tyler.
Probably didn't show up for a picture with them.
Yeah.
When they were at Applebee's eating crunchy shrimp.
Yeah, he denied his existence.
Yep. That's exactly probably what it is.
I'm wondering how many episodes in a row we can keep bringing up Buzz and his Applebee's prediction.
I don't know.
Prediction is obsession.
Who knows? Hey, maybe we'll get an Applebee's sponsor here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eating good in the neighborhood.
I'm gonna. Most impressive was Miami up until this point. I thought the way that they played a terror against Drake, losing the entire game, and then not just win but also cover the 2. The thing I was most disappointed with, 2 things. One, my Kent State team, they didn't show up against, and that's one that I picked. And then I was super let down. Although they covered, I was super let down that Kennesaw didn't pull off that upset.
Oh, I thought they had it too. I thought they had it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a real good one. So, all right. So, personal bracket wise, and our collaboration bracket, Texas is our team. They're still out there, so that could carry us in a couple areas to say, hey, national champions alive. Let's keep it going. So
yeah, and I thought they're tough. They had a tough, convincing win against Penn State too. I was actually very worried about that game.
Yep. I will be the first to admit, and I know I was really against Texas when we were doing our bracket, but I will be the first to admit when I am wrong. I just am, But in this case, they've actually given me a lot more confidence, and actually hearing you guys kind of speak about them too, in the sense of, hey, this is how we feel about them. I mean, obviously you guys have a better feel in them than I did. I just, have kind of been off their bandwagon most of the year. So, but yeah, Texas is looking good, and I feel like their road right now is going to be all right. It'll be interesting to see who shows up here against, or which Xavier team shows up to play them. I mean, I don't know. I know I dogged Xavier a lot, but I truly think their coach that is now doing his second stint at Xavier.
is
Yeah, he's got something going on. So I don't know. So yeah, Texas. I mean, I do think it's going to be Texas Miami here in the Elite Eight.
Yeah. I think just Texas, like when it comes to picking like brackets and being successful, and it's about like minimizing teams that are going to bust your bracket, right?
Yeah.
And I think Alabama and Texas were 2 of those teams on opposite sides, and I think Texas is living up to it. They're just very tough, even on their bad days. They're a tough team to beat. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I just think that I'm confident with them. I think Xavier isn't a complete team. I think they're also very streaky and fluky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think looking at the road ahead, you're right, Tyler. I do like their path.
Yeah.
With the matchup between Houston and Miami as well, if they get past Xavier here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything else here out of the Midwest?
I think so.
All right.
Not for me.
Let's jump then down into our final region here. We got the West bracket. This is where you had Kansas as the number 1 seed, and UCLA as your number 2 seed here. Any surprises, thoughts, reactions to the West side or the West bracket?
To be honest, the only surprise that really sticks out to me is Arkansas beating Kansas. I think all of the outcomes of all the other matchups have been kind of what I expected.
Yeah.
Minus TCU. I didn't think TCU would pull off their first round win, so that was a little bit of a surprise to me. But and I also picked the upset of Northwestern over UCLA, which didn't happen. But looking at the outcomes, I think that everything that resulted is reasonable and not much of a surprise to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Trey, you did say you love Musselman, so.
And he took his shirt
He
off.
was there, his shirt off.
Yeah.
No, that was
man.
that was a very exciting game. I mean, and I don't know, he's wild and his antics are crazy, but he does get some great wins from his Arkansas team. So them beating Kansas didn't really surprise me too much.
Gets him to the second weekend. A couple years now.
And I'll also be one of the first to admit too about UCLA. I mean, they're playing tough. You know, I also thought Northwestern would upset them. You know, they gave them a game. You know, they only beat them by 5, but I really don't know how the UCLA Gonzaga matchup's going to go. I mean, I can't help but think that, you know, maybe Gonzaga being a 3 seed and not a 1 seed and finally playing some competitions in the regular season, like, maybe Gonzaga does have a shot this year, you know, for a bracket that's kind of all up in the air. Maybe it is their year.
Well, yeah, I agree, Tyler. They don't have all the hype every year that they had surrounding them and building up around them, and they can finally just play basketball, good basketball for that matter. That matchup's going to be great. It's a rematch of their Final Four matchup 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was.
It's true.
Where Suggs hit the buzzer beater in overtime.
Yep.
And they have 2 of their players, Jaime Jaquez and Tiger Campbell, on that team still. So a little bit of a revenge matchup, and then Drew Timme as well, right? So
yeah, I did hear that if Gonzaga does win, Drew Timme, when he's done there, he actually does qualify for Medicaid.
I was going to say, he gets his AARP card after the game.
I guess Armando Bacot's modeling his career off of him.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Whatever.
I'm gonna say, although I don't have it, I actually think UConn's coming out of this region. They're just playing some really good basketball. Guards are hot. Big man I think is leading the bracket in scoring. But
Sanogo, man, what a game he had against Diana. Holy shit.
I will say this: I often make fun of West Coast basketball, especially Pac-12. But I'm once again not going to repeat a mistake again, which is I'm done fading UCLA. I think as it comes into this weekend, although I do have Gonzaga in my personal Final Four,
as well as our collaborative one, I think too, right?
Our collaborative one, we actually still have UConn and the Zags in Elite 8.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see the line.
I think it was 3.
I don't know. Is it 3?
3.
Wow.
Plus 3 for Gonzaga. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of those where, remember, UCLA lost that shooter.
That defender. But
Jalen.
Yeah, but he's also the dude that was hitting the threes out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know. I just think UCLA, the way that they defend, I don't know if they're physical. I mean, they essentially did to UNC Asheville and Northwestern what pretty much Tennessee did to Duke, which was, hey, we're just going to come in and disrupt everything offensively for you. So
yeah, well, and their coach gets them guys to play too.
Favorite matchup to watch. That's going to be a heck of a game. Sadly, guys, it's probably going to tip at about 10 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night for us. So yeah,
lots of coffee Friday morning then.
There you go.
Yeah, so our potential Elite 8 here is still alive, so that'll be something interesting to kind of see. And yeah, I do agree. Zags UCLA is definitely going to be the game to watch.
Great game.
I don't know. I mean, Arkansas UConn's going to be pretty good too. Not really sure where that's going to go.
I feel the only thing I'm worried about is both those teams can have dud games, right? Like where they just don't come out and play.
Yep.
So I'm hoping it's a great game, but I could just see one of those teams just not showing up and one of the other teams running away with it. And really, it could go either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it'll be interesting. 'Cause I think one of our polls was how many double-digit Sweet 16 teams you'll get, and we do have one, and that is a 15 seed. So, looking at the other ones, it was close. I mean, you got an 8 seed in there. You have a 9 seed in there. A 6, 7.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. It is all over the place here. And we're down to one number 1 seed, right? No, 2 number
2,
ones.
Houston and Alabama.
That's right, 2 number
All right,
ones.
so let me pose this question. Ready? Not going to tell you the teams at the moment, but which resume would you rather have? Okay. For the last 5 tournaments, okay, you have ready. I'm reading the first resume. Last 5 tournaments, you made the tournament 4 times. You've lost in the first round 3 times. You've made the Sweet 16 once, and you won a national championship once. Resume 2, you made the tournament 5 out of the 5 last years. You've never lost in the first round, and you've made the Sweet 16 5 times in a row, but you have yet to win a national championship.
I feel like your second resume is Gonzaga.
I'm going second. Second resume.
Really? You'd rather that resume?
No.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, you're bound to win the national title, right?
Bound,
the way
are you, though? Nothing's guaranteed.
Well, I mean, if you keep performing the way you performed in the last 5 NCAA tournaments, then yeah. You made 5 Sweet 16s in a row. Odds are in your favor that you're eventually going to get the big one then.
But what if this program has never won a national championship?
Ever.
Because the Gonzaga Bulldogs have not.
So it is Gonzaga.
Resume 2 is Gonzaga.
Yep,
Do you know who resume 1 was?
Virginia.
Say this.
Yep, it's Virginia.
Look at that. You impressed.
Yeah.
well, so the years they get knocked out, 3 years, one of them had to have been 16 seed then.
Yes, one of those first round losses.
And then they won it. And then they won it the year after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. I forgot they did come back then.
3 of the past 5 tournaments, they've been knocked out on the first day.
Wow. Yeah. See, then I would much rather.
But you have a banner that says national champion.
Yeah,
so.
and you got your championship ring.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll take the difference.
I thought that was an interesting side by side there.
No, that is.
That's a good question. I have a couple little Sweet 16 fun facts that I think should be discussed. Rick Barnes.
Hey, can I just quickly make a side note before we
go ahead.
Before we move to this? So we are 2-0 on our daily recipe picks right now.
Oh, heck yeah!
Right, so we're knocking out some of these NIT games, man, and some of these CBI games.
Hey, NIT has been much more friendly to us right now than the actual tournament.
Well,
yeah, it's very true.
And like I said, let me get to your questions here in a second. But I'll tell you what, some of these games in the CBI tournament, the NIT tournament, I mean, they get some bad reps, obviously. Just in the sense of you're not in the tournament. They've been some great games. I mean, Eastern Kentucky went to overtime 2-3 times in a row. I think it was 3 times in a row, and last night was like double, almost triple overtime. Should have been.
I think 7 of the 12 CBI games or something like that went to overtime.
Yeah, it's something crazy. So
and the championship last year was a triple overtime game.
Jeez.
Nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So we're 2-0 right now, and this is a completely side note, but I've been trickling some things there on hockey, and Connor McDavid is a dog, dude.
Oh my gosh.
He has a goal. He now needs 13 more points to eclipse 150 points for the season. And in the first half of the first period, he is already at 3 shots on goal. So we need one more shot to give an undefeated 3-0 for the day. So sorry, that's a side note. Trey, go ahead. You had a couple of things you wanted to mention.
Yeah, not so much questions, just a little discussion starters. Rick Barnes, coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, has not beaten. This is the first year he's beaten a single-digit seed in the NCAA tournament since 2008.
Wow,
it's pretty crazy when he beat Duke there.
yeah,
First time in 15 years.
Yeah,
And he's considered an elite coach that had Texas being like in the tops of the league every year. And that's just crazy to me.
All right, let's move on from this fact. Okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Princeton is trying to be the first 15 seed ever to reach the Elite Eight.
Wow.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, they're tough. They could do it.
I can see it. I mean, they beat a tough team in Arizona, followed up by another fast-paced, high-scoring team in Missouri. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Their shots have to keep falling.
Yes, that's a good point.
If they go cold, they've been hot, and if they go cold, they're gonna lose to Creighton, who has a significant. I mean, obviously it's a Big East team versus an Ivy League team, but I'm not gonna down the Ivy League, but. Talent-wise, Creighton has obviously a much more talented team. So
yeah, but do they
these
though?
teams
Because
you can't ride. You gotta keep those shots going in because if you hit droughts at this time, they're not talented enough to make up for those droughts.
It's funny you bring up Creighton because that's my next little fun fact is that this Creighton team has made it further than any other Creighton team did with Doug McDermott.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Creighton. And maybe it's because of how bad they were in the beginning of the year. And maybe I just have been completely blinded by that. And I don't know. I think they dealt with some injuries early.
They did. Injury bug got them.
And I don't know. That's why I've been, I don't know, so not sold on them. And again, it's kind of one of those teams where I'm looking at, I'm like, oh, wow. All right, they're making some noise now.
They have a very good swing forward in Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
Who I think is going to be the X factor this weekend playing Princeton because Princeton's got also a guard forward that can really handle the ball and score.
Yeah.
So I think Kalkbrenner can neutralize him and take away cut off Princeton's head. And I think that Creighton's role players and everyone will step up, and I think that's what Creighton does. Yeah, well, it's March, baby.
It's the madness.
Heads will roll. According to Trey. All right. So, do you have any more fun facts on there?
The only other one is Devo Davis from Arkansas is the only player that has been to all three teams that Eric Musselman has taken to the Sweet 16.
Wow. So he's on that Medicare Medicaid plan that
apparently
Jimmy and Armando Baycott are on. Huh?
Apparently he is.
Gotcha.
That's all I got. Those are courtesy of SaturdayDownSouth.com.
There you go.
Very cool.
Nice.
Cool little blog.
Any of you guys catch the incredible story of the guy who put $100, which still to me this is nuts, but $100 on every single game in the first round of the tournament. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's total what, 6,400, and every single bet he made was on the underdogs spread.
Wow.
And he profited $1,200.
Wow.
So I mean, it seems like it was 64, but he ended up making what would that be? 7,600.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Isn't that?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Look, Trey's wheels are turning. He's like, so wait a second, if
I know, yeah, that has me thinking. That has me thinking. No.
But you got to figure on some of those. If you took that FDU one right there, $100, you just won a couple grand in that one itself.
Yeah, that's true.
But he took their spread, not their money line, or
he took. I believe the spread. Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't have been. It would have had to have been the spread.
Yeah,
I'd have to look. I would have to look. But still, I mean,
that's crazy though.
It is crazy when you think of it. So,
all right,
it's a lot of money out there. So if the dogs don't have a good year,
well, how about unders this tournament? Unders are like 26 and 7 or something crazy. Like
that's been nuts.
Can I say that? That's another thing. Is like nobody wants to cheer for an under, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing when you bet on an under, your bet is hitting all game until that moment that it's not. So it's like I see both sides of that where it's a very weird feeling.
Yeah, unders aren't fun to bet on. They're very stressful, but like you said, Trent, you're always winning the bet until you aren't. So
yeah, I mean, and for some reason that provides me a little bit more comfort than an over.
I agree with you too.
Nothing drives me more nuts than doing the mental math in my head and breaking the game down into five.
You know what I'd compare that to, Trent? That little analogy that the unders there. It's like in blackjack when you're contemplating whether or not to hit and take another card because you could bust and then you lose right away, or you can stay, be safe, and maybe the dealer will bust.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe you've never actually played blackjack at a casino. You never know that either. Maybe that's the case.
Sir, did you just say hit on a 17 or
I've
18?
never seen a dealer give a player 5 chances to not hit.
Are you sure?
Listen, it's because we all had the table, man. I was learning. It was a long day.
It was fun though.
All right, so hey, we're gonna get into our board here. So what we're gonna be doing is going through. You guys want to do money lines or spreads?
Spreads.
Do spreads. All right, so we'll do all 8 games. We'll go through the spreads. I'm pulling the spreads up here on DraftKings right now as we speak. So we'll kind of wing through those. That'll give us our board that we'll put out tomorrow morning, so that way you guys can kind of follow along and see who's picking what and who's picking where. Not official daily recipe picks, obviously, like we like to mention, but just kind of more for fun. See where the leans are and where things are going, because there are some very, very interesting spreads, and they're starting to move a little bit. Kind of looking at these. I checked them out this morning, and I'm looking at them now, and there's some that have swayed a little bit here and there. So it's gonna be a good couple of days.
I agree, Tyler. I think we'll see like full 1 or 2 point swings leading up to the start of the games, just because the lines are so well set, and people are going to be betting heavy on one side once it reaches a certain number.
Yep.
We'll drive it back down and vice versa.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's get into that board then. The first game we got here is Michigan State and Kansas State. All right, and this is one of the ones that I have seen the line move now. Kansas State is now a plus 1.5 point underdog. So let's go. Trey, where are you starting with this one?
I'm going to stick with the Wildcats.
Okay.
I'm going to go Kansas State here, plus 1.5. I think they win this game outright. I'm going with just looking at the teams themselves, not their last couple games, which could be a mistake. When teams get hot, they can ride that heater and stay hot. But I think Kansas State's a better team throughout the season. I think they're very overlooked and underrated, so I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
Okay. Trent?
I am also avoiding the recency bias in this case, and I'm going Kansas State. I I already told you guys I like their money line, but I'll take them a 1.5 points.
All right, I am all sorts of recency. I'm all over Michigan State and Tom Izzo here. I am going Michigan State minus 1.5. Trent is leading our board, by the way, just in case. I don't know if we've ever mentioned that, but we're all kind of really close. I think Trey and I.
Wait, who? I'm sorry, you cut out there. Who?
No, did I? Trent's leading the board.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Trey and I are about a game separating us. So maybe I can make some distance up here with some recency bias in Michigan State.
I'll tell you what, I've been trying to claw my way back up because I've been in the trenches for the last couple.
Been doing a decent job at it.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Arkansas and UConn. UConn is a -4 on this spread here. That's a tough line.
It is a tough line, but I'm going to go with Arkansas +4.
Wow. Okay.
I think we touched on this earlier, but I think one of these teams could have a down day, right? And the other one could, I think, capitalize and win the game. That's what I think it's going to come down to. But even if they both have a good day, I think 4 points is a lot. So I'm going to go with the Razorbacks.
Okay. Trent, where are you going with this one?
Who? I am. We know Trey loves his muscle men, right? So I figured he was.
Oh, yeah.
I figured you were going there, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna have to go with UConn -4.
Okay.
I just think on the interior, even. I even just like. I mean, don't get me wrong. Arkansas has some long and athletic guards, but the reason I think UConn is going to take this over here is I think they'll cover the 4. 4.5 makes me nervous. You know, the hook scares me, but when you look at the stats that I love at this time, free throws,
Yep.
UConn blows Arkansas out of the water, right? 75.8% compared to 69%, and then in every rebounding category there is, yet again, UConn outdoes Arkansas across the board. So I'm going UConn, and I think UConn. This is one of those games where when you get to this point in the tournament, every once in a while there's not multiple games on. You just get one of those boring one team dominates the whole time. So this is one of those games I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be similar to last year when Arkansas met up with a very strong Duke team in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. I would, man, I'm looking at this too. Now, keep in mind, like I said, the spreads that we're using is going to be from DraftKings. But if you do compare it to FanDuel, the spread there on this UConn game is 4.5. So I know Trent, you had mentioned about the hook. It's something to just kind of keep an eye on with stuff. But I'm gonna go UConn -4. Oh man, I keep going back and forth because I want to say Arkansas is gonna surprise some people, but I feel like UConn's hitting a stride right now that is gonna be a little overmatched for Arkansas to compete with. But like I said, it's I've been going back and forth. So
yeah, that'll hopefully be a good game.
Yeah.
I hope.
Next, we're going to. Ooh, this is very interesting. Next, we're going to Tennessee and Florida Atlantic. Again, spread we're using is DraftKings. Spread on DraftKings is -5.5. All right. I will say this: it is a whole point different on FanDuel. So if you're looking for best bet of stuff, and you feel one way or the other, and you want to get a point one way or the other, I'd say shop around and make sure you at least look. Like I said, we'll use the 5.5 here for the Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. Trey, where are you going with this one?
I'm glad we're using the 5.5 because I'm taking the points with Florida Atlantic and the Owls, baby. They're a little biased here. They're my favorite team left in the tournament. I've loved betting on them all year. I think they're a fun team to watch. They're a smaller conference team, and they're putting up these awesome games. I'm going to go with the Owls plus 5.5. I think Tennessee. We just talked about Rick Barnes and his lack of performing in the March Madness tournament, so I'm hoping that that trend continues.
Trent, where are you going with this one?
Well, I hope the Owls bring their shoulder pads and helmets. Because they might need them. Who knows? I mean, you got the big guy throwing bows and just essentially running across the court and tackling people.
I'm hearing
I'm
hearing some hostility here.
I liked the game. I liked it. And I don't like the outcome of the game, but the game was a phenomenal basketball game to watch. But I'm already on. I took it early in the week on Tennessee 4.5. I'm going to say, hey, what's the point?
It's 5.5 now.
Yeah.
I know. So I was getting there. I'm going to take a defensive show from the Tennessee Volunteers, and they're gonna really contain Florida Atlantic, in my opinion. So I'm going Tennessee -5.5.
Yeah, I'm also going Tennessee -5.5 here. I think they're going to be a little too much for Florida Atlantic. I'd love to see the upset, just to kind of make things a little messy. But like I said earlier, I think the only team that's going to stop Tennessee in their bracket is going to be Michigan State. So, just my thoughts. But yeah, I'll take him at -5.5. Again, if you're on the verge for that, in terms of hey, maybe I can get a point one way or the other, shop around because, like I said, it's a point difference, which usually points pretty unusual. Usually it's a half a point, but I don't know. I'm sure that'll change probably by the morning. So, hey, real quick, another side note: Bearded Baker bets 3-0 today, boys.
Hey, that's right.
Connor McDavid got 4 shots on goal in the first period.
Wow.
So, close it out. Mark it down 3-0 today. All right.
That's big.
Moving along, we have Gonzaga UCLA. UCLA is a -1.5 favorite.
That's it.
Ray, go ahead. That's on both
Wow.
books.
Wow. If it was, I'm being picky here. If it was, I thought we discussed 3 earlier. If it was 3, I would have taken
it. Was at one point, yeah.
Yeah. If it was 3, I would take Gonzaga.
Yeah.
But I think the 1.5 is a perfect line for this game.
Yeah.
I think UCLA wins by free throws in the last couple minutes or last couple seconds, I should say. So I am going to take UCLA, strictly because of the line drop. I know it sounds like sharp, but I'm going to go with UCLA -1.5.
Trent?
Well. I am. That is a whole 1.5 drop. Wow. I'm on the UCLA -1.5. It's interesting. Trey brought up the old free throw mention there because once again, UCLA they outshoot them by almost 3% from the free throw line. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a bigger difference than you think.
That is a lot.
It's interesting when you look at the matchup. Gonzaga pretty much dominates all offensive statistics except free throws and except offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
But when it comes to defensive statistics, I mean UCLA is the number 4 ranked defense in the entire country.
Yeah.
So I am, like I said earlier, I think UCLA is going to be able to contain. Timmy might get his, but I think they're going to be able to contain those guards. I'm not very impressed with Gonzaga's guards this year.
Yeah.
So if you can let Drew Timmy, if you could double him in the post, that means guards have to make shots. And you saw that type of that execution from Purdue is, okay, double on Zach Edey, make life tough. Yep. Guards got to step up, hit shots, and they can't. And I think that could be the difference here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Gonzaga +1.5. I will say this that I'm still obviously looking for my daily recipe bet for tomorrow, but I did take Gonzaga +2.5 a few days ago. So maybe an alternate if you're looking out there, but. I think Gonzaga wins outright. Like I said, I don't know that that'll be my official pick at all, but I have him at 2.5. But I'll still take him at 1.5 because I do think that Gonzaga wins. I don't know. I mean, I think the injury and stuff to the one dude, the one guy from UCLA, I think that hurts. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going Gonzaga +1.5 for this one. Next game on the board here. All right, I think we are now getting into, I believe, Fridays. Yep. So this will be Friday's slate of games. We got San Diego State and Alabama. Alabama is a -7.5 favorite.
Wow.
That's also the same on both books too.
That is really hard. I think that's a great line. I'm gonna go with San Diego State.
Wow. Trent?
Yeah, this is where like I keep saying how I learned my lesson. I haven't figured out San Diego State all year. Fade them quite often. Matter of fact, fade them first 2 rounds. In terms of their not outright win over Furman. I took Furman with the points, which was a terrible mistake. But I'm gonna go San Diego State +7.5. I want to see I want to see how there's a chance that they could get some of the bigs on Bama in trouble. They're big on the duck-ins, if you know what I'm talking about in basketball terms. But they get a pretty good seal down low often. That's what their offense runs through. Yeah. And if they can cause some problems down low and get baskets in close rather than relying on a three-pointer, they could do it. But the guard play right now for Bama is looking elite. So I'm banking on them kind of coming down off that first weekend rush, and I'm going San Diego to cover 7.5.
Okay. I am gonna go Alabama minus 7.5 here. You know, like Trent, I haven't figured them out either. I don't know. I think Alabama's a little too big. So, in
big
terms
and
of,
fast.
Yeah, I don't see them. I don't know. I mean, this is a game Alabama could beat them by about 20.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it has potential to be a blowout here. I think Nate Oates will have the guys ready to roll. So yeah, I'm gonna go Bama. Yeah. I'm gonna go Bama minus 7.5 for this one. Next game we have here on the slate is Miami and Houston. DraftKings line, which was what we're using here. We have -7. Houston's a favorite. If you're somebody that likes to shop around, check it out because FanDuel right now has Houston at -7.5.
Jeez.
So just something to kind of keep an eye on with this. This is a game that I definitely have my eye on. And I could be way off base, but I have believed that Houston has been overrated all year. I think Miami's a dangerous team. I'm going to take Miami +7. I already have them +7.5 as well. I actually doubled down on this, so I'm going Miami +7 here.
Oh, I'm going to back you on that, Tyler. I think a lot of these lines have been good. I do not think this is a good line. Yeah. I think this is a mistake that can be exploited. Houston's banged up with Sasser and Shed. Those guards are not at full strength or potential. Mm-hmm. And Miami has guards that can counteract them even if they were at full potential. So I'm going to go with Miami here with the points. Definitely +7. In my opinion, I think it should be more of like a 4.5 line.
Oh, totally. Seven actually surprised. And this is one that's actually moved in Miami's favor. Because it was 7 all week, and it just jumped to 7.5. I think this morning on some of the books. And you're right, Trey. I think 4.5, 4 would be more reasonable. Yeah. But Trent, where are you going with this one?
This one actually makes me super nervous. I think we talked about it earlier in the week because I feel like last year at this time Miami was being given 6.5, 7 points. And they got rocked in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Sweet 16 might have been Elite 8. I'm not 100% sure which one that was there, but their loss was by a significant amount. But I can't go away from my Hurricanes, and I say my Hurricanes in terms of teams that I like to ride with on the spread. So.
Oh, I thought you meant as an ACC ambassador.
That too.
I'm pretty sure Trent just spelled Miami M-Y.
Yeah.
A-M-I.
Miami.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with you guys on this, and I'm going to take Miami +7. Okay. I've been on them all year for 2 years straight. You guys will admit that. 2 years straight, they've done some good things. So
is that our first team ride on the agreement there?
Yeah, wow. That is the first team ride.
Yes.
Yep. All right, moving to the next one here. This one does have 2 different lines. We're using the DraftKings. Princeton and Creighton. Creighton is a -10 favorite.
Whoa.
Yeah, they are a 9.5 favorite on FanDuel. So we'll use the 10 for our board purposes. But if you're shopping around, check 9.5.
Wow. This is a tough one. Oh man. I'm gonna go Creighton. I am. I think that they have an answer for every one of Princeton's threats. Everything that Princeton has done to get to this point, I think gets neutralized by the matchup they draw with Creighton. Kalkbrenner is going to shut down their best player. I can't pronounce his last name, but we've mentioned them both before. He's a good perimeter guard. He's a good big man guard. Like, so he can do it all. And I think that the supporting cast that Creighton has alongside Kalkbrenner is what's going to do it for the Blue Jays. And I do think 10 points is a lot, but I don't think this is a close game. I think the clock strikes midnight for Cinderella here.
So cliche.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So cliche.
You're gonna start singing "One Shining Moment" for us next or something. Jeez.
I guess to clarify my pick, Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my!
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, kind of mad at myself. I just said that.
I can't wait to go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
I know.
Maybe we can like slow it down with his.
Yes.
That'll be our intro.
Yeah.
I'm saying Cinderella dances on. Let's go +10.
Whew.
Okay. You mean by covering? You mean they don't win the game, right? Whoa.
There might be a sprinkle.
I was gonna say, put a sprinkle, dude. If you're gonna sprinkle on Princeton right now, it's +385.
Yes.
That's FanDuel.
And that's it.
They are DraftKings +410.
Wow.
So just check that out. That's something to take a peek at. But, whew, man, I don't know where in the world I'm going with this one. I want so bad to pick Princeton, but I feel like there's going to be so much money on Princeton because, it's when you get those Cinderella teams, the whole world's watching, the whole world's cheering, the whole world's going to, probably be placing bets on Princeton because that's who they want.
Exactly. People that have never watched will bet on Princeton.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Most Princeton students will be actually writing their 1,250-page thesis. So I don't know if they'll have much support there wherever they're playing.
Wasn't there a Twitter handicapper, like students from Princeton, where they would give their picks on like matchups? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it was Cornell Betts.
Cornell. It was Cornell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember
wow.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cornell Betts. That was pretty cool. All right,
pretty cool.
So this is not to get so specific, but I'm going to get specific. They're going to cover +10. Only because they're going to hit a garbage 3 as time expires.
Ooh, I like that prediction.
I think, this you might see this on SVP's Bad Beats, but yeah,
wow.
that's where I'm going. I don't know.
Tell you what, there were some bad ones that first weekend. Wow.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
Ooh. That TCU one, 0.7 seconds, rolls the full length.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm glad I wasn't in on that game. Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Last one we got here is Xavier and Texas. Texas is -4.5. That's on both books. Their favorites. Odds, I believe, are a little bit better. Yep, just a hair. A little bit better on DraftKings for the -4.5 for Texas.
Well, I think
a little bit higher of odds.
I'm definitely on Texas. I think Xavier's. I don't think they should have escaped the first round the way they did, being down by 13 points on Kennesaw State. I think Sean Miller is. I'm sorry, was it Sean Miller? I believe it's Sean Miller, right? Yeah. I think his luck's run out. I don't think he's gonna take it past Texas and their great team. So,
Trent, where are you going?
I'm on board. Hook 'em. Let's go Texas -4.5.
Yeah, I'm also on this for a team ride of Texas -4.5. I don't think Xavier has enough steam to stick with Texas. So, like I said, I was wrong on Texas earlier, and I'm jumping on board. I'm on board the bandwagon here. So,
is it Disu? Is that the big man for Texas?
I think so.
Disu and Carr, I think that they're a great combo of big man and guard there.
Absolutely. All right, so that's pretty much wraps up our college basketball outlook here. You guys got anything else to add? We'll be posting the board Tomorrow morning we'll have our daily recipe posted as well in preparation for the games. Um, yeah, we're heading into tournament weekend number 2 here, so we'll get Sweet 16 Elite 8 stuff. And what we'll probably end up doing is we'll probably put out a board for the Elite 8. I guess that would be Saturday morning. So we'll do that too, just to kind of share that with everybody.
Hey, not to put us on the spot here though, but I mean we got about a week left until America's pastime begins. So gonna have to give a little episode here coming up on what we look for, what are our favorite types of things to wager on coming up. So just a little preview of that. I do have something to add to the end of this that is NFL related.
Can I piggyback off? Yeah, can I piggyback off of yours real quick too? With baseball coming up, this also too is hockey time. I have been following hockey pretty closely. Kind of behind the scenes a little bit. I've been sprinkling out my NHL bets here as there's not as many college basketball games kind of going on, but I'm a big shots on goal guy and points guy for a few specific players. Team-wise, and you guys can kind of vouch for this. I look at the Oilers. I look to the Avalanche. I look to the Boston Bruins. And I also look to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I got a couple players on there that I kind of follow with some stuff. So I believe the last 5 hockey picks, I think I'm 5-0. So again, they haven't been official picks, but
don't speak about it, darn it.
Hey, behind the scenes, I'm telling you, yeah, that's all right.
And
a lot of the things too, and like tonight's shots on goal stuff, what I really look at, I'm not just kind of randomly throwing out players and be like, oh yeah. I look at shots on goal with where they're at, in terms of trends. But I also look at the team that they're playing, and if you kind of follow the team defensive stats, you can see where teams stand with shots on goal per game. So tonight I had Connor McDavid with over 3.5. The odds weren't the greatest. I think it was minus 160 on the book that I placed it on. But if you looked at the Arizona Coyotes, they were, I believe, second to last in shots on goal given up in terms of defense. So that was my reasoning for pick that. So that is some research and stuff that I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Yeah.
So.
And baseball is a very tough sport to bet. I mean, there's so many nuances and little edges, and weather is a huge factor. New rules, yeah, exactly. But another fun thing to bet for me is like golf when it comes to those head-to-head matchups of pairings. Mm-hmm. Those are fun little weekend bets that you can look to sprinkle on, and UFC fights are even getting more and more popular every weekend now. So I mean, college basketball is great, and it's probably our niche, I would say.
Yeah.
Besides like football and everything, but
or niche, yeah.
Yeah. But if you can get really good at baseball and find like either a trendy like prop bet or just trends in general when it comes to like over unders, there's a lot of opportunities to make money betting baseball. Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of opportunities to lose money too. But
well, let me add on to this is the biggest trend you need to pick up on is when Manfred has the juiced balls in play versus the dead ones.
You're right. Seriously. You're right. I guess there's some factors we will never know.
That's what it comes down to, guys. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Can I rattle these two off here real quick?
Let's touch on some NFL here.
Let's not get all our baseball stuff and everything out there. We'll save an episode for that. But so I have, as our listeners across the world know, Trey is a diehard Packers fan, and Tyler is a diehard Niners fan. So I just, it's like sometimes I'm just fed material that I'm like, this would be great to bring up on the cast.
Oh, boy.
So, Trey, your soon-to-be former franchise quarterback is quoted saying, and I just want a reaction. You don't have to explain everything. You could say, I agree, I disagree, and if you disagree, follow up with something. But he's quoted saying, "I'm debatedly," which at least he's admitting it's up for argument, the best player in the Green Bay Packer franchise history.
Was it greatest player or greatest quarterback?
The best player.
Wow.
In franchise history.
See, I thought I read the quote as being best quarterback.
Oh, I have the quote right in front of me.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
So, the best player. So, Trey, I just want to hear your reaction. And
I'll move he said debate. Well, like you said, he said debatedly, right?
Yeah.
And debatably. So I believe.
It's a tough word.
Yeah. Debatably.
Oh, terrible. Started Tyler. You and your English rules.
But with that word alone, that's a more than true statement. In fact, anyone that would disagree with that is completely wrong.
Best player?
Aaron Rodgers.
Best player.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
So they didn't have Reggie White on their team.
No. Hold on a second. Let me just. I said that word alone, debatedly, is what makes this a true statement. If you're going to debate about the Packers' best franchise player ever, and you don't include Aaron Rodgers, you're wrong.
Makes sense. I see that angle. I see. So it's all about semantics. So
well, yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is a very precisely spoken person.
Oh.
He was immunized. He wasn't vaccinated against COVID.
So
you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. He chooses his words carefully.
He didn't sleep in a cave. He did a dark retreat.
So hold on a second though. So if you're gonna go into his wordplay about things, and you're gonna say, well, because the word debate is in there, all right, then I can go back to my Jimmy Garoppolo comment.
Okay.
No, you can't.
Same thing.
No, you can't, Tyler. That's where you're wrong. Jimmy Garoppolo is not in debate for anywhere close to being the 49ers' best franchise player.
I'm saying in terms of numbers, he's a top quarterback in terms of numbers and winning percentages.
Whoa. Niners fan. Your turn is coming.
Numbers and winning percentages.
No, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Jeff Garcia is in more of the debate than Jimmy Garoppolo is.
Whoa,
how do you figure that? Okay. How many Super Bowls Jeff Garcia go to?
I don't know how many did they win.
Just saying.
With Jimmy.
Well,
can we
one less than Aaron Rodgers? So
can we run?
Oh, that's still one less.
Because I'm pretty sure Trey called him Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, but I'm just my point is that you're like, well, he says debate, so therefore it's fine. Well, and that was my whole thing is I'm not saying he's a top 10 best quarterback of all time, but I'm saying numbers wise.
Okay.
No.
That's all I'm saying. It's the same thing.
So
Jimmy
Trey,
G is not in the breadth of that.
I want to wrap this up because I don't want to draw it out. But Trey, I'm gonna give you with this right now. You can't explain yourself at this point. You just have to.
You're really handcuffed here, Trey.
Yeah.
It gets it to the point. Ready? And here's what I'm saying. And I'll do this to Tyler here. Okay, ready? You are part Packers owner, so
I am. I sure am.
You own I know. So, let's say hypothetical draft is coming up. You have first overall pick because you guys had a rough year. We'll say.
Wow.
And
first overall.
Two guys.
terrible.
Two guys on the board. Ready? Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. Who do you take? Just shoot me the answer. We move on.
Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
All right. Thank you. All right. So, Tyler, let me get to you. That's good. So, Tyler, the story broke, I think today it was. Niners reached out to Big Ben. All right?
Yeah.
So, my question to you, if the Niners get Big Ben in there after Jimmy G's injury, not saying he plays every game after Jimmy G's injury, but if the Niners get Big Ben in there and he ends up playing and doesn't get hurt, stays healthy, do you beat the Eagles?
So you're saying if Big Ben's in there instead of Brock Purdy,
yep,
and doesn't get hurt, do we beat the Eagles?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait.
Okay.
Yes.
And now let me ask you this: who would you rather? Let's take age out of it: Brock Purdy or Big Ben?
Brock Purdy. I think Big Ben could have had some success there.
His current age?
Well, hold on, and here's why. is because just like the argument is with Jimmy G is that he can't throw the deep ball. Big Ben, and at the end of his career, really couldn't throw the deep ball. All he has to do is throw it in the flats, drop it off to George Kittle, all right, and let the guys go with the yards after catch, which is what San Fran does best. And I think if you do that, you have a great run game, which when Big Ben won his Super Bowls, they had a great run game. I think, I think he could have had success there. I would still prefer, after watching 7 games of Brock Purdy, I would still prefer Brock Purdy. I don't know. I just feel like he's dynamic, and I really enjoy. So
ready? So here we go. Just saying now. You're starting your brand new start to your franchise, 49ers. You're in the draft room, all right? Ignoring the rage. They're both coming out of college. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. Who are you drafting? Give me the answer, just straight up.
Regardless of 8, that's tough.
Yeah, they're I did it with Trey. I mean, right now, Trey's going to draft Aaron Rodgers. He's younger. Brett Favre is in the midst of a scandal. So,
I say Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Whoa. Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
And you know what though? Maybe after next season, maybe my answer may be different.
Yeah, well, that's not fair. You're going to compare him while he's with my Raiders. Like, geez, he's going to fall off of the face of the earth here.
That's where all my Niners guys go to fall off.
Yeah, Trent. Let's bring up your team, your Raiders team here.
I'm open. Hey, I'm just trying to bring stuff to the table.
How do you feel about getting?
Not how do you feel? All right, how do you feel? Are the Raiders going to be more successful or less successful? All right, with Jimmy G instead of Derek Carr.
Am I considering the whole roster or just Jimmy G?
I mean, let's consider the whole roster. Let's consider your offense. Let's consider. I mean, I know you lost your star tight end, which was, I don't know what they're doing, but
crazy. It's all right. We got Austin Hooper today, guys.
Oh, great! Yeah, it's like not missing a beat.
We're going
Darren Waller, Austin Hooper.
We're going worse.
Well, for a Jimmy G offense, it's not bad. You need a tight end that can catch.
Broncos got better. Chiefs, they're the Chiefs. We all know what they're like. Chargers are going to be my question, because with Eckler requesting a trade, or I shouldn't say requesting a trade, but got permission to seek a trade, that could be a little spicy situation there. But
where do he goes with San Fran when John Lynch gets him and Christian McCaffrey?
Man, that'd be cool. Probably could, probably would. But anyway, I
got a question.
Hold on,
let me finish this. The quarterback position move was a lateral move, in my opinion.
Skill wise or winning wise?
I actually like Jimmy G's composure.
Skill wise,
like
it's a
Jimmy
downgrade.
G's composure, but skill wise, in terms of what Devontae Adams thrives in, which is catching the ball. I mean, he catches the ball anywhere, but mainly it's for 20 plus yards. I will say that skill wise is Derek Carr has better arm strength for sure, but in terms of winning games at this point, accuracy? No. But Derek Carr has never had a defense that was ranked higher than like 25th. Whereas Jimmy G's had the first ranked defense. So it's. I honestly think it's a tank year for the Raiders. I think we're tanking for Caleb Williams. Bring it on. I'll take him.
All right, Trent. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Hypothetical, but it's follow me here because it's pretty in depth. But say you could have had Aaron Rodgers instead of Jimmy G. But that means you also no. Hold on. But that means you would have also had to have given up Josh Jacobs as well as Darren Waller and take on Aaron Rodgers' contract. Would you rather have Rodgers or what you guys have now with Jimmy G's contract and Josh Jacobs still there?
Ooh, that's pretty loaded.
That is a loaded question.
Mine was very straightforward. You're telling me to calculate salary cap hit.
And Trent, you also have to just say yes or no.
Yeah. That's it. Do not explain yourself.
Okay. You don't want me to? I won't. I would say
Jimmy G.
No, I didn't say I wouldn't rather Jimmy G. I just said I would not do that deal that you just said.
Okay, well, now I want to know your reason. Now I want you to explain.
Oh, look at this. Okay, so my reason being is, don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers would. I think if you take Aaron Rodgers and put him on this Raiders team, he himself could win us probably 4 more games just on him himself. Could get us into a potential wild card, but I'm just banking on the fact that I think there's so much rebuilding that needs to be done from the Gruden era, because I think him and Mayock did a terrible job drafting. That's obvious as ever. I'm already accepting the fact that Raiders are not going to win many football games next year. Call me pessimistic, call me whatever. I'm a real fan because I've stuck with them for 32 years of my life. But I'm on. Let's wait till next year's quarterback draft. So let's get one then.
I will say this, even though I am a fan of Jimmy G, obviously, but I think the Raiders made a huge mistake by not pursuing Rodgers so much harder than what they did to reunite him with Adams. I really think that if you reunite those two with Adams, and you can get rid of Darren Waller, and you still have Josh Jacobs as your running back, I think you're in the playoffs at least as a wild card next year.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I think
and then you have Renfro.
Yeah,
to catch all those oh man,
right? Which is like the slot receivers that Aaron Rodgers throws to. I think they made a huge mistake. Elite,
but Jacoby Myers is actually a decent receiver to have in your arsenal now too.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, so
I would like to.
And at least he can't throw it backwards to a Raiders guy now.
Yes.
Hey, before we wrap up the NFL, I would like to say, as a Packers fan, I am excited with where the team's going, and as an owner, I should say too. I do think Jordan Love is capable. He showed it in the brief stint against the Eagles. I think that trading Rodgers, getting the draft capital that we're going to get from that, and maybe a player or two, we're going to skip the rebuilding era, hopefully. We might need a quarterback if Love doesn't pan out, but we have a good young core. We have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon that are a stud running back duo. An offensive line that is structured still. We haven't lost many people from that. A defense that really didn't play up to their capability last year and still has most of their pieces. So I know I'm being optimistic. I am. And I know losing Rodgers he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, but I think our franchise is going to be okay. I really do. And you guys can shake your head and make and sigh and. But
I just don't think you got better. I'll leave it at that. I think there's other teams in your division that got better and have a scary future in front of them with the amount of draft stock they have and salary cap space.
Yeah.
And I'm talking
the Bears.
No, I'm talking Detroit Lions.
And the Bears, though.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on Justin Fields' arm yet.
Yeah,
the guy can run. That's for sure,
they got a lot.
All right. Well, hey, there's 8 basketball games between Thursday and Friday, and they're going to be pretty sweet, pun intended.
There you go.
So I enjoy getting a little football talk in there at the end too. It's good stuff.
We'll definitely have to get some more football talk in here too, especially with draft coming up. So we'll discuss some things. I would say real quick, I know Trey, you have a college football team. I would say, Trent, if you have such a downward outlook on your Raiders, you might want to start looking into getting a college football team.
I try every year. I try, even make little deals in my head as I'm like, okay, this is a big game. If this team wins it, I'm going here. But I dabbled with considering Utah, but man, I think my family almost disowned me. Mom even sent me a mean text message.
It wasn't Utah. It was USC.
Yeah,
it was USC.
Nope. It was Utah in the Rose Bowl. I said, if Utah beat Penn State, I will be a Utah fan.
That's right.
Oh God, what the heck, dude?
I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to say.
That's right. You did.
I kept that secret from you, Trey, but I'm pretty
sure
Tyler
did.
told.
That's the first
Tyler
I'm hearing
told
that.
Mom that. I'm pretty sure Mom sent me a middle finger emoji. I'm not too sure. No, I'm just kidding.
Good.
Mom
That's
didn't
sharp.
do that. Our one of our 4 listeners might have just I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
More
Trendy. Yeah,
that's a joke. But
Yeah, I don't know. Think about it. That way you at least got some Saturdays to cheer.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's kind of the beautiful thing about not having a team is I'm never let down.
Enjoy football. Yeah, you can just
never
enjoy
let
it.
down. I just watch my bets ride and enjoy a Saturday where I can just not get stressed or anything. But I'm really in need of a championship soon from one of my teams, and I don't know if that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I just got one.
Yeah,
John Jones.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's different.
Hey, favorite fighter, man.
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
All right, well, hey, appreciate you guys. Great talking college basketball, a little football, kind of mixed bag of stuff here today. So we'll be back on, what are we looking at? Probably next Wednesday again. All right, and then we'll probably, we'll post a late Wednesday night, early Thursday for the next round of games and everything else coming up. So have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend.
All right.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.